Good evening, everyone.
Good
It was
evening.
great. Thank you. It was great watching you all practice yoga. My mom has also started practicing yoga, and I cannot tell you enough about the benefits of it. I've been doing it for the last few years, but it's amazing that you all are doing that. So, hi, I'm Benaifer Mirza. I'm a Bombay-based freelance lifestyle writer and voice artist. So I'll just tell you a little bit about my journey. I used to work at a publication house until 2011, and they were printing magazines, and I basically wrote on magazines, or I wrote in magazines which were about hair, beauty, travel, food, art, basically all the good things of life, all the things that kind of make us happy, that entertain us. And I was working there. And then in 2011, I did a workshop, a voiceover workshop. So basically, voiceovers is, um, there is an audio, to everything. There is a voice to everything. So the ad that you watch, or maybe the YouTube videos that you watch, everything has a voice in it. So I did that workshop, and since 2011, I have been freelancing as a writer. So I still write for a couple of magazines and publications, such as the NCPA magazine. Since we all are from Bombay, NCPA, I'm sure most of us must be knowing NCPA, that's the National Center of Performing Arts. So I write for that magazine. I write for a magazine called Marwar. Then I write for HDFC Bank's magazine. And apart from that, I do a lot of voiceovers. So, like I said, voiceovers is basically wherein I kind of lend my voice to certain projects. So there are audiobooks. So audiobooks is basically like we all must have read some or the other kind of book as we were growing up in school. And many of us probably, even right now, love to read. So audiobooks is basically when you just listen to the book. So it's an audio format of the entire book. Then you have your corporate audiovisual films, you have digital films, etc. So I basically lend my voice to all these kind of projects. And it's something that is extremely, extremely satisfying for me. And in the last few, I would say, months or maybe a year or two, I've been extremely happy to kind of, record and voice projects that are not only a part of my professional journey, but that also make a lot of difference to the lives of, other people. So the things that I really am very closely, I deeply feel about is, first of all, COVID awareness, in the recent times. Apart from that, I think, the entire topic of mental health awareness, or mental health, good mental health has been something that I have really kind of, really, I feel that, in a country like India, and I think across the world, where we are going through so many highs and lows, it's very important to kind of, speak about good mental health. So I've been very fortunate to be doing, some recordings that are about mental health. I've also done a lot of recordings that are about yoga for apps. So wherein, just as, our instructor was teaching you a while ago. So sometimes, you have these guided apps, which will tell you that, close your right nostril and, breathe in and breathe out from the left. So I've done those kind of voiceovers as well. And audiobooks is something I absolutely, absolutely love. I have done close to 45 audiobooks until now, 45 to 50 audiobooks until now. And it's storytelling has always been something that I've loved since a child. So if I were to kind of share a little secret with you, I would say that when I was in school, I would just get passing marks in all my other subjects, and I would be topping my English class because that is the only subject that I loved. That is the only thing that I knew. And I think that is what kind of, I think it was the beginning, it was the sowing seeds of something that would kind of develop into something further in my life as a career. And I am absolutely, absolutely in love with what I do. So I would definitely want to credit my own father for my love of the English language, because he was somebody who really kind of emphasized on good diction, good handwriting, good pronunciations, reading. So I've been very blessed to have parents who never pressurized me with any academics and just wanted me to kind of go from one class to the other. They never pressurized me to kind of, top in the class or anything of that sort. I've always had the freedom of pursuing whatever I wanted to. So, and I think and I think that kind of really helped in the overall development, versus just kind of getting a 90 out of 100 in, in your academics sort of a thing. So yes, that is what has been my personal journey. And right now, like I said, I feel very fortunate to be using the power of my voice, to be using the power of my words for something that is beyond just my profession, that is beyond just money. So right now I'm working extremely closely with this NGO called Share a Book India Association. And it's basically an NGO that was, that was founded in 2016. And they work with kids, who are in rural India, who are in the remotest parts of India. And I think most of us sitting over here today are very, very fortunate and privileged to have our own, smartphones. Many of us maybe even having two smartphones per person. But the children who are associated with this organization, just imagine one child, one phone, and there are 30 children studying from that one single device. It's like, if the father has gone out to work, the child has to wait until the father returns so that the father kind of gives the child the phone and they can kind of study from it, or they can probably watch a storytelling session from it. So I began my journey with Share a Book in June or July, wherein I was doing storytelling sessions with them. I was just recording videos, storytelling videos for them. And right now we are working on a very, very interesting fundraiser from November 14th, which is Children's Day, to December 14th, wherein we are collecting funds, and we are really hoping to collect enough funds so that we are able to kind of, distribute books, distribute digital equipment to, so many unfortunate or lesser fortunate children, so that, it really can work and really help in their educational journey and their future. So if any of you are on Instagram, please, please, please follow Share a Book India Association. We're having very, very interesting Insta lives every evening. So tomorrow we are going to have Dr. Batra, the very, very famous homeopath, who's going to be kind of speaking with us. And our aim is to kind of, reach out to as many people and really kind of, request them to contribute, because and no amount is small. We are happy to kind of, accept 100 rupees with as much love and gratitude as we would 500,000, 10,000, whatever somebody feels like contributing. So I feel very fortunate that, I've been able to use the power of my voice, my words, my experience, even with this particular organization, by kind of, hosting their Insta live events every evening, kind of giving them ideas, tips and tricks on how we can kind of, move the fundraiser ahead and things like that. So I think true talent is only when you can, go just beyond the surface level of things and, really kind of, make a difference to at least a single life. So yeah, and I think like I'm so happy that, today I'm meeting all you really, really energetic people. And it's probably my work, which is why I was kind of invited to speak to you all. So thank you so much for having me. I would love to, if there are any questions, if there are any experiences, I would love to listen to you. Alternatively, I would love to probably, I have the secret, the power, which many of you may have probably listened to, may have probably read. So I would love to read a few lines from there. I would love to share maybe a funny story that I came across on the internet with you all. But let me know what you would like, and I would be more than happy to kind of share the same with you and go as per your comfort level. Is there anyone who would like to probably share something? Want to know something about, voiceovers and things like that?
We would love to hear from you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Benaifer.
Understand more about this. Yeah.
About voiceovers?
Voices, yes.
Sure. So basically, very broadly speaking, voicing has two very broad categories, I would say. So one you have is dubbing. So, all the animation that you watch on TV or on YouTube, wherein, there are cartoon characters, there's a Chota Bheem, there's a Doraemon, etc., wherein, it's an animation and there is a voice to it. So that comes under the category of dubbing. Then a lot of our, Hindi content is translated and dubbed into other regional languages. So when that happens, that also comes under the dubbing category. But I'm not much of a dubbing artist. What I do is more of narrations. So, for example, if you would like one of the latest videos that I have been working on, which I find extremely cute, is the the Netflix and UNESCO videos, festival centric videos that they have kind of started producing, which speak about the festivals of India. So I've kind of if it is possible to share a screen, maybe I could probably show you all some of my work, so that you all can listen to it, and then you all will get an idea of what exactly I do. So
you can actually share. We have enabled sharing by
you. Enabled sharing. Okay. So I think, if they kind of, watch and listen to my work, I think it'll give them a better idea and understanding of what exactly I do. So just give me a moment. And let me tell you one thing, that, we all think that, there is a certain age at which you can start a new career. But let me tell you, voicing has none of those barriers, none of those, I would say, age restrictions or something. You can start your career at any given age. So if any of you are interested, please, you could probably join, you do a little workshop or something that will kind of just give you, will warm you up to the mic and tell you a little bit about the technicalities. And like, I completely fell in love with the mic after I started recording. The first time I entered the studio, I was like, oh my God, I love this place. And to be very honest, it did take a little bit of time for me to crack the industry. But I think it's just been an extremely nurturing and nourishing journey. So I am going to share my screen with you all. Let me begin by sharing a Tanishq ad that I had done.
Be party ready with statement earrings and gorgeous cocktail rings. Tanishq presents Glitterati, starting at rupees 65,000.
So this basically is an ad. So now let me show you let me show you one very interesting Omni Gel thing that I'd done. That was a Hindi one in which I got to play the character of a crane. So I'm going to show you that now.
Tired of cold calling? Okay. Introducing Lucia.
I'm sorry, that's not
the easiest, most accurate way to prospect. Simply sign up for free.
कोई मेरी तरह बनना चाहे तो मुझे अच्छा ही लगेगा ना।
That's amazing.
अब क्या बताएं? वो बोलते हैं ना, imitation is the best form of flattery.
देखिए थोड़ी तो इनसिक्योरिटी होती है अगर कल को इन्हें लगे कि
So, you know, this project was done primarily when COVID had really kind of, you know, hit the world, and, you know, there were no shoots happening. That is when, you know, the extremely talented and intelligent, you know, video editors took all these, you know, inanimate objects and birds and stuff and kind of made a video out of them. So because at that point of time, it was extremely risky for, you know, actors to kind of go out and actually shoot. So yeah, that is what has happened in this video. Let me show you the Netflix one. I would love to show you this Mother's Day one before that, which is something that is really very close to my heart.
Pausing is never an option. The show must go on. For ideas see no time. For the time to be in the spotlight is now. For there's always room for change. For some moments make you an idol of a lifetime. For you're a mother who has shined through the test of times. Hafala salutes you. Happy Mother's Day.
So yeah, I think I feel just so fortunate sometimes to kind of work on projects that really are an extension.
क्या आप एक सिविल इंजीनियर हैं और आपने डिप्लोमा या बीटेक?
Yeah.
Pausing is never an option.
I think pausing is an option over here when I have to pause the video. Okay. Just go. Oops. Let's go. Okay, so this is the Netflix one that I was talking about for Diwali.
India, a land of many cultures. Various festivals are celebrated throughout the year, representing its diversity. Diwali is one of the most popular festivals celebrated in India and also known as the Festival of Lights. It signifies the beginning of a new year and symbolizes the victory of light over darkness. The celebration of Diwali is spread across 5 days, with each day having its own significance. Families clean their homes and decorate it to welcome the new year. It includes beautifully lit oil lamps and colorful rangolis on the floor. Families come together with their loved ones to prepare and distribute sweets. The festival is also widely associated with Lakshmi, the goddess of prosperity. UNESCO and Netflix have come together to showcase the diverse culture of India. See you soon with many more celebrations.
Yes, so in a nutshell, this is the work that I do. Basically, kind of narrate a lot of content. Oops, sorry, 1 second. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, so I kind of, narrate content in on a range of topics, so right from festivals to mental health to yoga to sometimes technology, which I absolutely do not understand. But yes, I think that's the beauty of the career and of the industry, that you're constantly learning so much, and you kind of get to do projects, very interesting projects. Like I've also done the audiobook of Shobha Dev, then Anuja Chauhan, the modern age writer, the modern day writer, then J. Krishnamurti, who is a philosopher. I've done his a biography as well. I've read it. So I think, it's like, especially audiobooks is something I absolutely love doing, because I always joke and say that I'm getting paid to read a book. And it's something that's very, very interesting, very enriching. And in a time when today, sadly, we are watching more of Netflix and all these things, we are compared to like picking up a book and reading it. But thanks to my professional journey with audiobooks, I have been very fortunate to read some really, really well-written work. So I feel extremely blessed about that. So yeah, I hope I've been able to kind of convey what I do, because it does get a little complicated. The thing is that I think across ages, we've all had something or the other that we've listened to, I mean, I'm sure like even you all must have had your Binaka Geet Mala, where Amin Sayani ji used to kind of, be there on the radio. He's the iconic voice of, Indian radio. But, we did not really kind of call it voiceovers, or we did not call it radio jockeying, wherein the terms have been given today. But it always existed. There was always a voice in a TV ad. There was always a voice in a radio ad. There was always somebody explaining things to you. And especially in India, the way we are taught is a lot by way of listening. We're told stories a lot, even in our Indian mythology. We've had so many stories that have, been kind of, told by, one generation to the other. So, listening is a very, very, I would say, important part of our entire growing up process as well, our growing up journey. It's just that, we don't really know that, oh, this is the career that somebody is pursuing further, or this is the, I mean, this is the reason why somebody is doing it. So probably if I had not picked up that book when I was a child and read aloud, I would have not been doing what I'm doing and not speaking to all of you people. So yeah. Is there anything that anybody would like to kind of ask me? I would be happy to read a little bit to you all as well. So please let me know.
Benaifer, could you tell us a bit about the audiobook things? Would you have an excerpt that people could listen to?
Yes.
A small part?
Yes. So I will definitely play that for you right away. 1 second.
Also, in the interim, if anybody has any other question, they could ask Benaifer.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sure.
Yeah, Benaifer.
Yes,
voice, of course, is an individual's identity. And
yes.
I was always loved Pratap Sharma's voice.
Yes.
I was a fan, Pratap Sharma's fan.
Yes.
It's your voice also very pleasant to hear,
Thank
and when
you
you
so
hear
much.
a good voice, you know that there's a message, conveys the correct message. And I would like to know when you have these audio books, when you relate to, when you do have regularly giving out the audio books, do you read out at intervals and do you inform us?
So basically, ma'am, these audiobooks are uploaded on, Amazon has an audiobook app called Audible. And there is another very famous one called Storytel. So all these books are uploaded on those platforms, and you can subscribe to those books. Regarding how the work comes in, when the work comes in, I absolutely agree with you that, your voice is your identity. But the first thing that we are told when we enter the industry is there is no good voice or bad voice. There's a voice that suits a project. So you may have the shriekiest and the shrillest voice, but if, it suits the character of a bird, you will be called to kind of, do the recording of a bird, because you don't need a very heavy and deep voice for a bird. Like my voice, which is slightly on the husky or deeper side, is great for, narrations, for slightly mature topics. So every voice, I would say, has is its own unique identity, of course, and also its own area of work. And of course, Pratap Sharma ji is like the legend. Pratap Sharma ji, Harish Bhimani sir, Vishnu Sharma, then, so many of them, Amin Sayani. So as I mentioned, yes, they are all legends who we really, really look up to, So yes, so like as to what's the frequency of work, the frequency of work can be very varying. But yes, I would say that today a lot of mainstream actors and stars are also entering the industry. So right from Mr. Anupam Kher to Konkana Sen to Tiska Chopra to, in fact, even Mr. Amitabh Bachchan, they've all narrated either an audio book or an audio story or something or the other, because it's something that's really kind of picking up in India. And I think, I think people sometimes have gotten so exhausted with just watching content on TV or on your laptop that they just want to probably close their eyes and listen to an audio book, listen to an audio story, maybe while they're taking a walk. They want to listen to an audio story or audio book when they're driving to work, when they're probably cooking something. So, it's something that you can do whilst you're doing another activity. So I would say that is the beauty of, an audio book. So yes, does that answer your question, ma'am?
No, where do we get to listen? Which channel or where do we get to listen to these audio?
Yes, ma'am. So these audiobooks are available on, primarily available on two apps. One is called Audible, Audible. You need to download the app and you need to subscribe to it. And the other one is Storytel. That's Storytel. That's a single L. Storytel, where you can again download the app and listen to it. They all have, I think, some free 15 days or something like that, wherein, if you're really kind of enjoying it, you could sign up for a subscription plan. And both the places have a variety. So right from a suspense book to a romantic, to a children's book, to a biography, every kind of content, whatever, to, maybe some motivational book. So every kind of content, depending on your area of interest, is available on these apps.
Okay, thank you, Benaifer. Nice listening to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So yes, I will just play, I've done a short story of Shakuntala Devi's last year for Storytel. And I was extremely fortunate, in fact, to have even kind of, won an award for it. So let me see if I have that still with me. If I do, then I would love for you all to listen to that.
So until Benaifer finds an audio book, let me give all of you something to think about. Write to me personally. I'll see if I can give you a free audio book. I can give you a link. I need to make sure that there are no copyright violations, but I think all of you should try it out once. It's very addictive, and I know a lot of seniors who actually use it because a lot of their eyesight, they find it more difficult to read small print. So they prefer audiobooks, put it on their speaker and on their headphones and listen to it. So write to me on a one-on-one basis at TAARE Social, and I may send you a link.
Yes, yes, I think that's a great idea, because I think, like, as you correctly said, that people who are struggling with, maybe their eyesight and stuff, it's a great way to kind of, still for them to consume content by way of, just listening to a story. So yes, I cannot find the Shakuntala Devi one, but I'm Storytel app. I wish I'd kept it ready. Okay, I have another one which is called The Flute, which is also another very beautiful story. So I'm going to play that for you all. Can you listen to it? Hello?
Not yet.
You
will have to
I'll have to share my screen. Yeah. I'll have to share the screen and okay, because I've never done it just with okay. Yeah.
Use the share screen and audio only. Advanced.
Share sound.
Benaifer, you'll have to click share sound.
Share sound is on.
Yeah, just stop the screen share.
Okay.
Start screen share again.
Okay.
And on the bottom left-hand corner, you will find share audio.
Share sound. Share sound. It's clicked. It's clicked.
Then I then maybe just check your volume. We can't hear the audio.
Oh yeah. Maybe it's the volume. 1 second.
So unimportant that they weren't worth
You can hear it now?
And yet,
yes.
Okay, so I'll start it from the beginning. Yeah.
A million constellations burnt inside of her. Little memories, inconsequential memories. Memories so unimportant that they weren't worth remembering. And yet, every story, every word, every rhyme, every phrase flew back to her like long-lost siblings. So intimate, so intimate. In trying to forget, she ended up remembering. There are things that cannot be forgotten. There are things that return on their own volition from some distant land, finding their way out of the abyss. Like the southern wind that visits in spring, shaking everything in its wake. The stories of her past returned, in tune, quite vigorously, washing her in excitement and jest in their wake, filling her to the brim, infinite. She found herself drowning in warmth of the recollection, in its distant colors and its familial fragrance. There are things that cannot be forgotten. And just like that, Sulekha thought of so many things. Her mother-in-law called out to her from below. "Bauma! Where are you, Choto Bau?" The older wife shouted, "Come on out, we're waiting downstairs." She walked down the stairs. "It's because of you that the imp has turned into a little devil," the older wife said. "You've let him sit on your head. Now see the fallout? He won't have his food unless you're the one feeding him. We tried for hours. No, he won't listen." Sulekha didn't reply. She started feeding the child in silence. The task of feeding her nephew wasn't short of waging a war only Sulekha could win at. He had 1,000 demands, tantrums, and wishes that needed to be fulfilled at the dining table. Sulekha wasn't a stranger to those, but somehow she couldn't find herself concentrating that day. "You brat," she said. "You've grown to the size of a bull and still you can't eat by yourself? I can't do this. Go on, eat." She understood that the child's belly wasn't full. It was difficult to ascertain whether he was doing this in a half. Something was amiss that day. Where second helpings were accustomed, a strange weariness seemed to have taken hold of her. It was Banoj. Banoj, who had set up camp in the wilderness of her heavy heart. Only him, no one else. Everything was vanishing. This earth, the tremulous weight of existence, everything seemed to be retreating from this young widow, being washed away by the sea of longing. Only a speck remained, a memory, one name, etched. Banoj, a singularity standing in the middle of everything vanishing. Everything was empty. The spaces in between are indomitable. Once the feeding episode came to a close, she busied herself with the household chores. Even these chores carried the miasma of disgust. She noticed that the arrangements hadn't been made for her mother-in-law's evening prayers. The beds lay empty. The brother-in-law would want a towel the moment he arrives, but the racks were empty. The towels weren't hanging from the clothesline. These were her chores, and if unable to fulfill them, she was normally quite disappointed.
Yeah, so this is an excerpt of the entire audio story, and it's originally written in Bangla by Vibhuti Bhushan Bandyopadhyay, and the entire story was translated in English, and I had the good fortune to narrate it. And I think it's really so much fun when you get to play multiple characters with your voice. So over here, I'm narrating. I'm also playing the mother-in-law. I'm also playing a child in one of the in the later parts of the story. So you really, it's basically, I would say, acting, but without the camera being on you. When you're doing storytelling, or when you're kind of doing dubbing, or for that matter, any kind of voiceovers. So yes, yeah. So I think, yeah, that in a nutshell is what I do, a little bit of my work. So yes, please let me know if there are any questions, if there's anything else that you'd like to listen to or want me to share with you.
You got everybody speechless, Benaifer.
I don't know whether I've got everybody speechless or everybody is bored.
No.
Beautiful.
Not
Beautiful.
bored.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you.
We learned
Very
something new today. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
It is very interesting.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I'm so happy that, you've been able to kind of, because it's like I said, it's an industry where age no bar, nothing, all that matters is the intent. So it's never too late to start a new career, to kind of, and I think, like, I'm sure, as adults, we keep on reading something or the other to maybe our child, our nephew, somebody or the other, we are constantly kind of storytelling. We're kind of relating incidents and events from our life, from our, past to others. So I think it's just that we do it, um, in a personal space. And what I do is I do it in a professional space as well and get paid for it. So yes.
Benaifer,
Yes.
can I ask you something? Is
Yes.
it this way this whole book is done in parts, or it's all together in one shot? Is it that way?
Sure, great question, ma'am. So basically it depends. So for example, when I had done J. Krishnamurthy's biography, it's a book which clocks 22 hours. So I had done it over 3 weeks because, every day I was doing a session at the studio for around 3 to 4 hours, because by the end of it, then your voice is tired. So yes, so yeah, now the story that you just heard is a short story. I think overall it's around half an hour or something. And that was done in a single session, I just kind of finished it off. So it depends on the length of the story. If it's a short story, if it's a big sized novel, I think anything above or maybe like 50, 60 pages will spill over to multiple days and cannot be done just in a single sitting.
Yeah. It's roughly 2 hours a day or something like that, roughly?
It absolutely depends from individual to individual. So if you have the time, if you have the stamina to kind of go on for even 8 hours, but then let me tell you, I think it makes sense to kind of just stretch yourself to up to around 4 hours, because then, your voice starts getting and feeling a little tired. And, while you want to physically stretch it, your voice may not be able to kind of, your throat may not be able to, fight as much, kind of a thing. And then, you can feel that kind of tiredness in the voice, which will reflect a strain in the voice, which will reflect in the final audio output. So because it's always important to remember that, when you as an audience are listening to it, you're not going to say that, oh, it's okay, Benaifer is sounding a little tired over here because this was at the 5th hour of a recording. For you, as a listener, you want my voice to sound as fresh as it is on page number 1, as it will be on page number 200. So which is why, which is why it's very important to kind of, even respect your throat, your voice, and just kind of stretch yourself as much, only as much as you should, not as much as you can, kind of a thing, because sometimes, I mean, we're not superhumans. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Very, very interesting. I'm hearing this for the first time.
Oh,
lovely,
really?
lovely. Yeah.
Really,
And
really.
I understand the importance of elocution in schools, how the teachers emphasized.
Yes.
So on voice and voice modulation, everything.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
thank you
yes.
so much.
Thank you so
Really,
much.
it was a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, Rashida, ma'am. Thank you so much. A big thank you to you all for asking me such interesting questions, for listening to my voice and my work while we were speaking this evening. It's been an extremely lovely experience being with you all. If I could kind of just share something from my own life. My father, of course, who passed away in May, he was 83 when he passed away, of course. But when I started doing voiceovers, he could not really get what exactly I do. And he, for the longest time, could not tell people that I'm a voice artist. So he used to keep on saying she does voice making work. It is something that, obviously even he had heard and stuff, but it is something that is relatively, I would say, has come up more in the last 10-15 years as a profession. So I always kind of, laugh about it very fondly, remember it very fondly that, what he used to call it and what he used to term it as. So I think, I mean, many of you today who are here are not his age, but of course, closer to his age. And it just kind of, really humbles me to speak to you all, because even the level of interest and enthusiasm that he had about my work was unparalleled. He would like, I think like I've won a couple of awards and stuff, but I think what was always most humbling for me was when he would kind of, listen to my work and kind of send me a message saying, great work, great rendition, loved your voice in this. I think those were compliments that could not be compared with, I think, the biggest of awards and the biggest of paychecks. So I think it's a very emotionally gratifying and humbling career as well. When you touch the life of a child, when you touch the life of an adult, just by the way of your voice, the power of your voice. And we often underestimate the power of our voice to kind of change so many lives. So I feel extremely blessed and humbled that I am doing something that I don't know if it's going to be able to impact hundreds and thousands of lives, but even if it can, positively affect one life, bring a smile to that one face, when they're having a bad day, they could listen to my voice and just smile. I think that makes the day worth it for me. So, yes.
Thank you very much, Benaifer. This has been lovely.
Thank you.
Again, I've been just thinking of what you've been saying, and yes, I mean, I think audiobooks, I think there's so many ads that the voice actually has made such an impact.
Absolutely.
Thank you for what you do, Benaifer. I think it's people like you that actually make us happier and make the world a better place.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Pushpa ma'am. Thank you so much. Everyone, please stay well. I would love to probably do a story reading session with you all someday. It's going to be a lovely experience interacting with you all, even sometime in the future. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Stay well and stay safe and stay healthy.
God bless.
Thank you, ma'am.